Over the next few chapters, we're going to cover the all-new Halion Sonic SE. This is one heck of an instrument. Not only does it have a wide range of sounds and controls, but it's also multi-timbral. We'll discuss that in detail in the chapter on multi-timbral instruments. But for the next few chapters, we're going to use it as an instrument track. The sounds in Halion Sonic SE are incredible. This sound, while creative and interesting, doesn't show off the sonic potential of this instrument. So let's try something else. Of course, we can use the attribute filter to find a sound, but I want you to check out the Yamaha S90 piano. This is the same piano found in Yamaha's flagship performance keyboard, the S90 ES. Listen to how it responds to the slightest velocity change. I love it. Let's get started with the top row of controls. Now the first two are pretty obvious. Mute, of course, mutes the current selection, and solo solos it. And guess what this does? You guessed it. It's a MIDI activity indicator. In instrument mode, clicking on this triangle here will open the preset browser. Let's go through the rest of the basics really quick. This is the output meter. This is a fader and a panner for the specific layer or slot. In multi-timbral mode, you can choose a unique output for the slot. Again, this will be discussed further in the last chapter of the series. There's the master volume and the master tuning for the entire instrument. In this area, you can see how hard your CPU and disk drives are working and how many voices and megabytes of RAM are being used. This next section allows you to quickly enable or disable insert effects, send or auxiliary effects, and switch off flex phrasers, which is a bit more relevant in the full version of Halion Sonic. You can undo your last command here, and if you want to go back a bit more, click here and you can choose where in your history you would like to go back to. Cool. You can do the same for redo here. Redo history? Extra cool. This MIDI reset button can come in handy too. I'll show you this later on, and this button will be at the end of the lesson. Now let's have some real fun with the performance controls. Let's start with the pads. Right-click on a pad. Choose Snapshot Chord. Notice the pad is glowing, waiting for our input. Play a chord on your keyboard. If you can't play all of the notes in your chord at once, you can gradually tap them in. Be careful though, if you tap the same note again, you will remove it from the chord. The selected notes for the chord appear in blue. When you're done, click the pad. Now, when you tap this pad, the entire chord you chose will sound. You can assign a key on your keyboard or drum pad controller to activate this pad. The easiest way is to select Learn Trigger Note and press a key on your keyboard. There. Now my F note triggers the full chord. Now make a few more chord snapshots and assign them to a note on your keyboard. I'm going to do it so that all I have to do is gradually go up one semitone from the F note each time I want to go to the next chord. You'll see what I mean in a second. Now here's where it gets real fun. Not only can you play these 4 keys and trigger all of the chords on the right, but you can come up with some patterns that would be nearly impossible on a real piano. Try doing this on a real piano. The next set of performance controls is this row of dials here. They change depending on what preset you have chosen. I'm not going to bother to go through each of these knobs as it's different all of the time and pretty self-explanatory. If you right-click on one of the dials, you can choose a MIDI command controller for the parameter and set the minimum and maximum value for the dial. These pitch and mod wheel controls don't do much unless you're on a proper synth patch. Let's choose another sound. So if you watch the mod wheel while I'm playing, you can see the display respond in real time. If you don't have a pitch and a mod wheel on your keyboard, you can control these parameters by clicking and dragging on them. This next one is really neat. It's sort of like an XY joystick that's usually set to control two unique parameters. Just click and drag on the ball to affect the sound. Wow. Nothing happened. Okay. Let me grab a patch that I know makes use of this control. Now this is kind of an annoying example, but I thought I would pick a real obvious one. Now imagine what you could do automating these parameters. And as if by magic, I get a stuck note. In case this happens, it's easy to fix. Just click on this button here and problem solved. Now to get ready for the next chapter, click on the E button to enter the editor and rearrange your window so everything fits.